Our first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to take care of my ex's baby? I am a 29-year-old father of two. My ex and I broke up 11 months ago after I found out she cheated on me multiple times in our 12-year relationship. She was pregnant at the time, and I knew there was a good chance the baby was not mine, which a paternity test proved was true. At our first court appearance, I was ordered to pay child support. When we went back to court with the DNA results, she was ordered to pay child support for our children only, and I was given primary custody of my children. It has been several months, and ever since the paternity test established I was not her youngest child's father, she has been on my back, asking me to take a fatherly role in her child's life, begging me to take him some of the time so our shared kids can see me with their brother and help the bond while giving him a father figure. I have said no, repeatedly, and I have taken the relevant steps to get her to stop. Her brother is now involved and wants me to do it for the child. He and I were friends until I broke up with my ex. He took his sister's side and thought I should have stuck it out until I knew for sure. Now he feels like I am being a dick to a child who is innocent. But he is not my child, and I do not want to take responsibility in that way for another man's child. Am I the a-hole? Now for more info and top comments. Not the a-hole. It's not your baby. It's not your responsibility. I may have judged differently if you had a relationship with the child, but you never have. Lots of blended families navigate different parents, different bonds, etc. Your ex is being totally unreasonable. Oh yeah, if I had established a relationship with him, I would have stayed in his life, but I knew the truth before he was born, and was never in a father role in his life. So you have nothing to reproach yourself for. Your ex is trying to get you to help her fix her catastrophic errors of judgment, and why should you do that? Stand firm, and I'd imagine she'll start looking elsewhere for a father figure. Not the a-hole, and in some jurisdictions, you could be forced to pay after you've taken on a parental role long enough, so don't. And I know she would go straight to court if she thought I had established that. Argue some nice stuff like not robbing this kid from its roots and stuff. This kid has a daddy somewhere, and her job is to bother this guy about it. Kid and dad deserve it and stuff. Not the a-hole. The biological dad should be the one supporting them. You're doing your part for your own kids. This is true, but also how is her brother going to come to Opie and ask him to take on a fatherly role when he's the uncle? He's got more of a connection to the baby than Opie. If it's so important to him that his nephew has a father figure in his life, then he can grab the baby bag and take on that role. Now for the second story, am I the a-hole for refusing to help my ex reconnect with our son? My ex and I divorced after 8 years of marriage. Our son was 7 at the time. The divorce was messy, but my son was my best bud until middle school. Around the time my son started middle school, my ex started sharing her truth with him about what an a-hole I was and how innocent she was. This happened around the same time I cut back child support because she wouldn't get a job. I also remarried and she was jealous. I never bad-mouthed my ex, but I disputed her lies. My son turned on me throughout middle school and hated me. Well, my ex found a boyfriend and my son took a back seat. Her boyfriend and my son hated each other. Long story short, she picked her boyfriend over our son, and he lived with me and my wife full-time, while his mom traveled the world. They rarely spoke. My son is now 17. His mom broke up with her rich boyfriend and wants to reconnect with our son. Our son told her to back off. She reached out to me to help her rebuild their relationship. I told her no freaking way, after the way she undermined my relationship with him when he was in middle school. Plus, he's 17, not 10. It is his choice, not mine. He has a wonderful relationship with my wife, by the way. Now for the top comments of this post. Info. What do you mean you cut child support? Did the court agree to this? I paid more than what we agreed as a gesture of goodwill. That was not meant to be permanent, as we had 50-50. Not the a-hole. He's old enough to decide for himself if he wants to reconnect. Just don't stop him if he decides he wants to. Yeah, not the a-hole. It is 100% the kid, now almost adult's choice. Don't try to undermine him by going to his father who doesn't really like you that much either. Yeah, it sounds like the mom is a real manipulator and a bit narcissistic. Their relationship will probably be on and off for a long time. Not the a-hole. It's your son's choice, and your job as his dad to support his choice. Not the a-hole. Like you said, it is your son's choice and not hers. And after she turned your son against you the first time, it is hard to find any reason to help her. I wouldn't discourage it, but I certainly wouldn't encourage it either. Let it be 100% your son's decision. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my dad karma came back to him about him and my mom's aftermath post-divorce? My parents divorced 6 years ago. My dad finally left my mom. After years of affairs and verbal abuse, he finally left her. I don't think she would have ever left him. And told her very horrendous things like she was overweight and ugly and no man would ever love her. That she was spoiled goods and he could always find love. She would just spend the rest of her life watching him do so. Me and my siblings heard the entire fight. Fast forward 6 years. My mom lost 80 pounds after the divorce, married my stepdad 4 years ago, and had another baby, and is a happy stay-at-home wife. Before, she used to work 24/7, while my father jumped from odd job to odd job. My father is dead broke, addicted to alcohol, and I think something else, and hasn't dated since. He always calls me to complain about his life and ask for money. He always asks me about my mom and her husband and new life, and I don't tell him anything. He doesn't even know the city she lives in, her request. I told him to stop asking me, and he accused her of turning us against him because I don't tell him updates about her life, and I replied, It's called karma. Everything you said to her the day you moved out came back to haunt you. Don't lie and say she turned us against you. You did that to yourself. And hung up. I was just fed up. My sister called me to say I upset Dad and to apologize because he seemed to be very irate. I told her I don't care and he deserved to hear the truth. Now let's jump to the top comments. Not the a-hole. Like you said, karma. What goes around comes around, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Truth hurts. If karma was a gun, the dad has a lot of gun holes in him. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Good for you sticking up for your mom. 100% this karma is what your dad deserves. And now for the final story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to get tested to see if I'm a bone marrow match for my dad's wife? Okay, so this is a bit of a doozy. I, 34 female, have not had a relationship with my father, 63 male, in roughly 18 years. My mother died when I was 6, and he remarried when I was 10. His wife, who I'll refer to as B, has always treated me terribly. I can remember more than one meal where she forgot to make enough for everyone, so she made me a peanut butter sandwich. She knew I was allergic to peanuts. Then, she'd witch at me for being ungrateful, and I wouldn't get dinner at all. She forgot me more than once at stores. I was also quite frequently left to watch her children, who destroyed my belongings and wouldn't listen. My father always blew it off. I was too sensitive. It must have been an accident. I needed to understand it was a big adjustment for her kids. I just needed to get over it. When I turned 16, B gave me a gift that she said was from the whole family. Eviction papers. My father just said it was for the best. I had nowhere to go and no job. I couch surfed for 2 years until I thankfully got a scholarship and left for college. I started going to therapy and after a lot of years, realized I wasn't the problem. That I was put into a terrible position and the person who was supposed to protect me didn't. Here's where I'm probably the a-hole. I received a letter from my father. B is sick and they're trying to find a bone marrow match. I was incredulous. He actually wanted me to get tested to see if I could save the witch who made my life hell for years. I was furious, and a whole ton of resentment came back. I threw the letter away. Any other letter I marked returned to sender. I know I should probably be the bigger person and get tested, but I'm still so resentful of everything she put me through and everything my dad allowed to happen. Maybe it's me, but if you throw your kid away, you don't get to ask them for anything ever. And before anyone asks, yes, I am still in therapy. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to get tested to see if I'm a match for my father's sick wife? Now for the top comments of this post. Info. Why wouldn't you take the letter to CPS and get help? You could have taken advantage of all sorts of resources. Better question. Why didn't anyone you were couch surfing with do that? Not the a-hole for ignoring your stepmother. I didn't because I was 16 and dumb as a box of rocks and didn't realize I could. I have no idea why anyone else didn't. I, 34 female, have not had a relationship with my father, 63 male, in roughly 18 years. Automatic, not the a-hole. Extra, not the a-hole, based on the fact that she and your father were literally abusive to you. Hopping on top comment to mention that by purposely trying to feed you the peanut butter sandwiches you were allergic to, she could have done severe damage or even killed you. But now she wants you to save her life because it's so precious? No, not the a-hole. Came on here to say exactly this. F that B, I'd say she's getting her comeuppance. That family literally threw you away. You're under no obligation to save them. Not the a-hole. You were abused, abandoned, and this is someone reaping what they sow. Here, definitely not the a-hole. And that's the end of the video, guys. Leave your comments down below, and if you like the content, hit like and subscribe for more videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.